can live a life in flow, where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go. Happy Flow Friday, Set to Love community. I am so excited that you are here. My name is Eva Payne with my best friend and co-host, Shelley Garite, right here, and a really good friend of mine, Rebeka Olaoye. And she is one of our former staff members at Camp Kindle, the summer camp that I run. And today she's going to be helping us to review the book, The Flow Life Funnel. I asked her to come on because Rebeka, Starlight is her camp name, so it's weird for me to call her Rebeka. But Starlight, she is an avid reader, and she's going to share some of the books that she really likes with us. And so even from the very beginning, I mean, years ago when I first started writing this book, I send her things like, can you read this? And what do you think about this? And she was always so positive, and she would type up pages of notes for me. And so she's read the much expanded version. She's read the entire book, where the Flow Life Funnel, while it is a book, is really just one chapter of the bigger concept of living in flow. So I'm really excited to have her on today. So welcome, Rebeka, and welcome, Shelley, and welcome everyone out there to Set to Love today.
Hi, thank you, Eva and Shelley, for having me today. I'm so excited. Yeah, I made a lot of notes in this book. I highly recommend it. I feel like it's such a great guide and such great perspectives that Eva has. So I'm excited to share more about it. Some of my favorite authors, I really do enjoy young adult fiction. So one of my favorite authors is Jason Reynolds, but I have recently been reading a lot more nonfiction. And similar to Eva, just people who have a more positive perspective in life and like encourage you to follow your passions and intuition, as Eva writes about. I would say two authors that stick out are Amber Ray. She focuses a lot on bringing your gifts that you have inside out of you and focusing on like different feelings and emotions and being friends with those feelings and emotions. And then also Sylvester McNutt, who's on social media, and he is an author of a few books as well, who focuses a lot on, like freeing your energy and just like being in tune with your soul and what it is that you need. So yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, before we dive into the book, Rebeka, I just want people to know a little bit about you. So tell us what your life looks like today. Who are you? What are you doing? And then we'll dive into the review.
Yeah, so currently I'm a mom of a now 1-year-old today, and I'm an educator. So I write curriculum. I used to be a teacher, so those are some of the, passions and talents I have in my life. Right now I'm just busy taking care of a little baby. So
there's nothing more important than that. And congratulations on his birthday today.
Thank you.
What a weird year, right? To like be a mom and bring someone into this world. I have another friend, and she has this in the same situation, where it's just like had her baby right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and trying to maneuver all of that. So, but you've been doing so great. I love watching your pictures or seeing your things you post online. And thank you so much for being here on our show today.
Thank you.
I want to tell Rebeka, though, I have a book that you need to get, and it'll help your child as they grow. And it's called The Alphabet for Humanity. It is amazing. Please write that down, because it really just starts our kids thinking in really positive ways from just young age and the things we hear. So
yeah, we did a show on Monday about it, and then synchronistically, as life would have it, I said, Shelley, we should reach out to the author and see if she wants to be on the show. So I messaged her and just kind of randomly, and she got right back to me and said, I'd love to be on your show. I was just thinking I need to be on more podcasts. So we're going to have her on. So if you follow our show, it won't be the last time that you've heard of An Alphabet for Humanity, but really is a great book for a young person. So
great. Yeah.
Way to start your son off right. Okay, let's dive in. So Rebeka, give us one of the first takeaways. What's something that you would tell someone if they were to say, hey, what's this book about? Like why read it? What is something that you've gotten from it?
So I feel like the way that it starts out, especially with intuition and interest being like the two ways that the flow life funnel starts, that really, I feel like, helped me understand what the book was going to be about, where it was going to go. Because I feel like often myself, and I'm sure other people are the same way, where you're like, I don't know what I'm interested in, or I don't know what I like. But when you actually sit with those things, and I think you write how our deeply rooted interests have always been present. So thinking of things as even when we're like younger, as we grew older, what were our interests? What are they now? And just figuring that out. I feel like that's a good way to start, of like who you are as a person, where you want to go. And then like how those interests can change. And if you're like open to different opportunities, that you'll find new interests. Kind of like, I've never been on a podcast before, but maybe after this experience, maybe that's something, that I might be interested in. It's like, you don't know until you try what you might be interested in. And then intuition is like, I just think huge. It's like the voice in the back of your head, or if it's like something telling you to just do it, just give it a try. I feel like I often just, even though I'm like, I might be fearful of something or insecure, it's like, just do it. You never know what's going to happen. So I feel like those are like two takeaways from like the beginning of the book. That's like just a good start for the rest of it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. It reminds me of Alicia Ayala, or Ayala, who we had on the show earlier this week. She talks about how as we get older, we forget to like keep that interest like fresh in our life. We kind of, when we're young, we're all into all these things. And then as we get older, we kind of prune away some of that. And then our funnel becomes more narrow. And then if you don't keep bringing in new things, you could easily wake up at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or whatever and go, I don't even know what I like, or I don't even know, I'm bored with life. And I don't have anything that excites me or brings me a challenge. And so I think having always like thinking about the things you've loved from when you were little, because those things will stick with you, but also being able to be open to new experiences and going outside the box a little bit, because you never know what is going to like spark that wake up that intuition to say, oh, this is kind of fun. Let's do more of this. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
I was listening to a podcast, because I listen to them all the time. And one of the gentlemen said, his name is blank all of a sudden, but the point was his father never celebrated his birthday. And he's like, why didn't I ever get a birthday? And the father said, because I don't want to limit you. You have forever. There is no beginning and there is no end. So I think, meaning like, I guess he said there is no death. So whether you believe that or not, but how great is that to put in your mind that even if you're 75, you can still move forward, make a difference in the world, still be positive, and instead of telling yourself, well, I only have, maybe 10 or more years, if that, to go, it's what we put into our minds too. That was the other thing. I'm just curious too, Rebeka, in reading this book, are there any things that are now automatic? That's what I found after reading it. Some of the ways that you look at life and you put those ideas in your head. Now, for me, after reading the book more than one time, did that do that for you?
Yeah, I feel like, well, like intuition, first of all, when you're like trying to figure out, like, should I do this? Should I not? And if it's like, okay, if something's telling you to just do it, give it a try, just say yes. And then I feel like some other things maybe have been yeah, just finding like when you write about passion and kindling new interests, you know, to find a passion. I think especially a year like 2020, where it's like, it was just so hard to like be motivated to do things, and you're like not sure of what you're interested in, and you're like finding yourself in like routines and things like that. I think just bringing in like different things that, you know, you might be interested in or like doing, like journaling. You know, I'm like a huge fan of reading and writing, and I feel like sometimes I like push those passions like just back, whether I'm like, and I've told myself like I'm going to write a book, you know, and I've said that to myself for years. And I think after reading this book, I was like, nope, I'm going to spend time and do this. Like, this is in the back of my head for like so long. It's a passion of mine. I know I have like the skills and talents for it. Literally everything that this book is about. I feel like those things were like automatic in a way, just telling me to do it. But then like after reading this book, I'm like, no, like I need to do something about it, you know? So for me, I feel like this book was like motivating me to pretty much follow my flow, you know, follow my passions, follow my intuition, all of those things. So I've been spending a little more time. I still need to get outside of that fear and insecurity, and, you know, everyone else is doing it. Like, what's going to be unique about me? But one thing I've also learned is like, we all have a voice. We all have something to say. There's no one like you out there. So yeah.
Rebeka,
I like that.
One of the things that makes me think about for you in particular is, because you've been with me on this journey from like draft 1 of this book to actually publishing just this one kind of bigger idea, let that just be a motivation for you. Like, who cares what you write when you first start writing? You do not have to have a plan. You do not have to have it all figured out. And I think that idea that everything kind of has to be in place for us to start something is such a story that we tell ourselves. And if you just sat down, you know, when your son's taking a nap or when you just had a few moments and just felt really, when you feel inspired, like when you just feel pulled, like, you know, I have an idea, I'm going to just start writing. Just do it, even if it never goes anywhere. Because once you just release the fear and you just start letting your fingers do the work, and you just are open to whatever story needs to come through you, it just will. I promise. And then it'll start like, it'll just start flowing really, really quick. So don't be afraid to just start. The hardest part is like Jake Kelfer, a friend that we had on the show too. He said, how hard is it for you just to open your laptop? Can you open your laptop? Can you just create an outline? Can you just write like take one character and just tell me something about that character? Or if it's a nonfiction book, just give me some basic ideas, but just start. Because once you get that momentum going, you'll feel good about it, and you'll want to just keep going and keep going and keep going. So don't let the fear hold you back, especially if it has been in your head and your heart for all these years. Like, I want to do this. I want to do this. When you have an idea that will not leave you alone, and it taps into everything that you are so naturally and everything that you've worked on becoming, then why are you not doing it? You know, like, you're needed in this world to do whatever it is you need to do. And that's how we heal the world.
I say too, though, added to that is, I wouldn't do anything if it feels forced. Wait till you really are. If it's 3 a.m. and you feel it at 3 a.m, get up and write then. But, you know, to feel like, oh, I have to go, you know, do whatever. Do it really when you are inspired, because when you're inspired, the real truth and the real you is going to come out. Partly that's why I haven't started. I wanted to write some of my things, but I'm still working through not feeling forced and not being natural. So for me, I'm still in the thinking stages, and that's okay. It's just not my time yet. So
I love that.
Just differentiating, like, make sure it's not fear that's holding you back. Like, no, what I have to say isn't important enough. Is it that voice, or is it, no, I'm definitely doing this. I can see it in the world. Yep. It's just like the path to get there is going to ebb and flow a little bit, and I'm going to move with it, you know.
That's me.
laying at least a little baby brick a day, even if it's just one idea or something, but creating something, taking it out of your mind and putting it down somewhere, sharing it with someone, writing it, typing it, because once you start to take it out of your mind, you start to make it real. And it like becomes, it starts to form, like it's its own entity that you love and nurture. And the more you love and nurture it, the bigger it will grow. So that's my thought for that on that topic. Okay,
sure.
Give us another thing that really stands out to you.
Those are really good pieces of advice. I love it. And yeah, and I feel like you wrote about how like also learn from other people who are doing the same thing as you. And I feel like when you surround yourself with people, other authors or other people who are inspiring, I feel like that always sets a little, fire in my soul and gets me going. So I do appreciate all that. And then, yeah, when you talk about, I think the hardest thing to like not comprehend, but to like take in is like when you write about filling a need and your purpose in life. And what I mean by that is it's just, sometimes you might not think that you have a purpose. Like, what is my purpose? Like, I'm not, and you compare yourself to other people. And I find myself doing that sometimes, like, oh, well, I'm not that skilled, or I might not know this, or I might not have this many connections. But it's like we all have a purpose in our lives. We're all important. We're all unique. We all have different stories, different experiences to share, and that we all have a need to fill. That part is just, I feel like I've never really like heard that before until I read this book. And it's interesting. I feel like I'm just like, well, what need can I fill? Like, and I like how you just write about how like, two people might have the same need to fill, but they can fill it in different ways. And I think that's just amazing to see like how people can do it in different ways, where some people might be good at doing some things on social media, where some people are like on the front lines volunteering and doing something. So yeah, I feel like that journey is just interesting. And I kind of want to know, maybe from both of you, like, how have you discovered what needs to fill, and like, how did you discover that? What path did you take to figure that out?
Well, one thing I want to say to you, Rebeka, first is, let's say you and I both were tasked with writing a story about courage. The way that you would write the story and the way that I would write the story would be so different, but yet we're both still writing a story. So the way that you write is going to resonate with someone, and that's filling a need, because that's someone who needs to hear about courage in whatever way. Yours might be a nonfiction story. Yours might be a fiction story. Yours might take this really philosophical, in-depth approach, or it might be more adventure-y. I mean, so it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're just putting into the world your whole heart. So whatever it is you're doing, when you're doing it with like truly because you love it and because you feel fueled when you work on it, then that love and passion, like, just like I said, it's like a little object. It's like something you're caring for. Someone else is going to see that. They're going to recognize that. Wow, I can feel her depth. I can feel like how much she really cares about the story and like the depths of her character, or whatever it might be that you're working on, right? So the needs sometimes kind of emerge just by you looking around and saying, I want to write. So I figured that out. But now, like, where's there a need in the market? Or what could the story, what does the world need right now? What does the world need to hear a story about to be able to heal? How can I contribute to a small sliver, even if it's one person who reads it? And that's really what I thought. I thought, if one person reads it, the ripple that one person can have, let's say you're the only one who ever read it, but now it motivates you to go write your story, and your story is the one that changes the lives of millions of people. Then that's my hero's journey. Like, that's it. That was all I needed to do, was to put this less than 100 pages together so you would be motivated enough to go do your thing. So I filled a need for you, and you're now going to go fill a need for millions of others. So that's how I would respond to that. What about you, Shelley?
I would respond to in saying, part of the motivation of even having this podcast, that our hearts really are genuine. It's because we love women. We love, men also. But I mean, mostly we were working with women and young people. But this was our way of actually getting out to more people. But in all honesty, it's evolved. We've tried different things. And part of the thing is that's like even having you on today is getting a different perspective from all kinds of people. So even if it's not just Ive and I talking at people, we're trying to bring different people that have flow in their life and speak everybody's language. So if that means, just like Ive said, and if she just writes this one book and it motivates you, that's the same for us on a daily basis. If we can motivate somebody to think differently, to love themselves, to, people who've been through divorce and can learn from our experiences and have a smaller portion of unhappiness, then it's a win-win. So wherever this podcast go, it's because it's just coming from a genuine place of just giving to the world. There's no money involved. There's no nothing. It's just a pure heart. And the greatest part of when you give is we get to meet and learn so much from wonderful people such as yourself. Mm-hmm. And so it's a win-win to me. This podcast is a win-win, and all of our viewers matter to us, what they have to say, what they have to offer. This is the most beautiful gift. I just sit in awe and gratitude for just having the opportunity to be a part of this every day.
Me too, Shelley. Does that answer your question? Does that help a little bit with that?
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. And I feel like both of you are doing such a wonderful job and like just reaching out to people, inspiring others, allowing us to learn new things, new perspectives. And yeah, I feel like both of you are living in flow. You found your passions and interests and are sharing your gifts with the world. I feel like that's really important.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. One last point. Is there one last thing? Looking through all of your beautiful highlights, it makes me so happy that you have all these little Post-it notes and that you've highlighted stuff.
You're the perfect student, Rebeka.
Oh yeah. I was a teacher, so
I love it. I love that there's content good enough to be bookmarked by you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you wrote this. I think the last thing, and this is your final thoughts in the book, actually. So this is perfect. You wrote, there are no timelines, deadlines, or expectations on how your flow life will unfold. Our human experience was never designed to not be challenging or difficult. Life is challenging when you believe it shouldn't be. Our challenges strengthen us, wake us up to our humanness, and offer us a range of opportunities to grow. And I love that because, there's no timelines, there's no deadlines, there is no expectations. Just because you think you're a certain age doesn't mean I need to have it figured out by then. As you age, I feel like you gain more experiences, you learn new things. That's more time that you're given to, get everything that you need, acquire those talents, acquire those skills, and think about and reflect on what your passions and interests are to, help you live that life of flow. And so, yeah, I feel like we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves, but just like be in the moment, be mindful and just like listen to ourselves and what we need to, live in that happiness. And I love how you write, like, I think in the beginning when you said like your goal, I think was for everyone to live in like 51% joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's like so easy to do because it's not 99% or 100% because that doesn't seem like achievable. 51% does. So I feel like we can easily get there, and not be so hard on ourselves. So that part really stuck out to me.
I love it. I think when you do have things in your life that you love doing, that's the thing that tips you. So as long as you do one thing a day that truly, like, whether that's hugging your son and just really being present in the moment with him, or your husband, or being on a walk and just looking at the world around you and like just taking in the beauty of just being alive and having all these experiences and not putting a timetable on having to figure it all out. I spoke to a college friend of mine yesterday, and he was like, he's my age. He's like, he has a son who just started college. He's like, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, as a parent, I'm still like kind of just figuring out life. And, he's got a 20-year-old son, or 19, I don't know, whatever he is. And so I just love that. We don't really, one lifetime is not enough to figure out our evolution as a soul, as a infinite being, as something beyond just this life. This life is just one snapshot of our existence and who we really are, I believe. So just live it the best that you can and bring in as much joy and do as many of the things that really pull on your heart. Rumi said, be silently drawn towards the things that pull on your heart. And I'm paraphrasing, but I love that. You're going to feel those things pulling on your heart, like writing a book, and it's been pulling on your heart. So maybe now you won't be afraid and you'll tip into it, because it's that reassurance that, okay, if Ive can do it and I've seen the process, I can do it, and you can. So thank you so much for that. Any final thoughts, Shelley, from you?
My final thought is really, and I guess it's just because I'm almost 60. What I love about your book, Ive, is it's never too late. I really get the feeling of it's never too late. If you just change your mindset, if you let go of some of your past, this book gives you an opportunity to just know sky's the limit. I mean, it's just right now. You can have 51% happiness right now, no matter what your circumstances are. And that gives people hope. And that's why I just think you're so amazing. I love this book. This is not the end all of your books. For sure, you will have another one, another chapter. The world needs to hear what you have to say.
Another chapter. Let me just end with saying, if a 70-year-old man or woman can run the Ironman, and if a guy can free climb El Capitan in Yosemite with his bare hands, the human is infinite potential. What we are capable of doing, it is never too late for us to use our essence to make a difference in this world. And so, Rebeka, it has been an honor and a pleasure having you. Thank you so much just for being my friend, for being one of the beta readers of this story. I'm sure I'll come to you with the next book whenever I get that all put together, which is, it's pulling on my heart. I'm feeling it. I feel like I need to set a date this year to get it's called Be Magical. That's the next one. So you're kind of inspiring me, like, all right, Ive, let's go. So thank you so much for being here on our show today. Any final thoughts from you before we head out?
Yes, you can do it, Ive. I believe in you, and I will definitely be here, excited to, read more of your words and your stories. And Shelley and Ive, thank you so much for having me today. I feel honored. I'm definitely going to continue listening to your podcast and be inspired. So thank you both for your work.
Thank you. And my final thought right here. So Emmy, my daughter and our producer who manages all the back end stuff of our show, she started an Etsy shop. See, look, this is someone who she started buying earrings online, these clay earrings from someone, spending upwards of $30 for a pair, and then bought some clay while she was home over winter break and started making her own, and then started diving into the whole clay earring world. There's a Facebook group for everything, she told me yesterday. And I said, yes. So now she's surrounding herself with people in this world. She's learning like how to set up an Etsy shop and how to sell and how to put something beautiful into the world. So sometimes filling a need is something as simple as creating beautiful earrings that someone might wear and like feel really good about themselves. So if you would like to visit Emmy's Etsy shop and support her earrings, it is prettyinpain.etsy.com. And Rebeka, thank you so much. My best friend Shelley, thank you so much. And if anyone
love you guys.
Thank you.
Comments, Rebeka, don't hang up yet. You can find us at settolove.com. It's always the number 2, set2love. And our email is settolovepodcast@gmail.com. We're here weekday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Happy Flow Friday, everyone. Listen to your heart. Go after your dreams. We need you in this world. That's how we heal the world. You heal yourself, and it just is a ripple effect. into the world. So thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Hit the bell.